Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter. It's episode 106. It, of course, is brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. And guys, we're talking about a little-known acronym today. I don't know if you ever would think that the term F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M.S would be related to baseball, but it in fact is, and it stands for Fielders Allow Runner to Score Like a Moron. Not a very scientific term, but a very important term when locating some of the funniest and confusing baseball plays ever in MLB history. Now, I want to clarify what exactly this means, because this is more than just a miscue. If a fielder throws a ball away or an outfielder drops a pop-up, that's not exactly a F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. A F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. is a fielder allowing a runner to score like a moron. You know, errors a lot of the time, the fielder is still trying to make the best effort on the play. They just can't quite get it done. This is when a lapse in judgment comes into play. And we're going to dive into the many examples of what exactly a F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. looks like. So let's go. Like I mentioned before, a F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. is a mental lapse or a mental miscue. And one of those could be arguing with an umpire while the ball is in play. There's a very memorable play made by the Mets back in 1990 where Mets pitcher and my coworker David Cone did this exact thing. He forgot a live ball was in play while arguing a close call at first base, and while Coney is protesting to the first base ump, Dale Murphy and Ernie Whitt both score to give the Braves a 4-1 lead. This can be considered a double F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. because 2 unnecessary runs scored, so the first ever double F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. goes to David Cone, my beloved coworker. It can happen on a big stage too, like in the 1988 ALCS Game 2 of that series. Chuck Knobloch began arguing interference at first base, and while he was doing that, Enrique Wilson scores from first base to give Cleveland the lead in the 12th inning of a very pivotal game. That is a crucial F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M., which is not ever a phrase I thought I'd be saying on Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter. But what do I know, you know? There's a third iteration of this kind of F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. as well. In June 2008, in a game against Toronto, Prince Fielder hit a fly ball to right field, leading off the inning for the Brewers. Alex Rios, who was in right field for the Jays, felt the ball had lodged in the outfield wall, and instead of making an effort to try and get it out of the wall, he just decided to argue with the umpire and protest the entire thing, while Prince ran around the bases and scored the most unlikely inside the park home run ever. But F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M.s don't have to come from arguing or just being aggressive with umpires in general. They can also just come from forgetting the situation of the game, like forgetting how many outs there are currently in the inning. When this F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. occurs, you can often see the fielder jogging off the field before the inning is over, like Anthony Gose did back in 2015 after catching a routine fly ball. It was only the second out of the inning, and Ryan Goins was able to score from second base on this unlikely sacrifice fly from Josh Donaldson.
There they come.
The most memorable one, or I guess the most iconic one, is an outfielder tossing the ball into the stands before there's a third out recorded in the inning, resulting in extra bases for the offensive team, like one of my favorite players ever did, Benny Agbayani, who caught a fly ball from the Giants' offense, went to go hand it to a fan in the stands, and then decided to take it back and try to throw the runner out at home. It was too little too late. That had become an all-time F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. Pretty unfortunate for me as a Mets fan that we've already regarded 2 different F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M.s for the Mets. That's tough. But back to the more emotional side of F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M.s, we have the F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. where a player loses their cool or gets distracted. Another inside the park home run happened with Adam Jones at the plate, where he hit one deep to center field, and Niger Morgan, an all-time hothead baseball player, almost came up with the ball, and when he didn't, instead of making the play, decided to slam his glove and let the ball roll around while his outfield teammate went to go retrieve it. But by that time, Adam Jones was already rounding third base, and the home run was basically sealed. But perhaps the most crushing F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. of all is the game-ending F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. You can find an example of this in the Mets and Cardinals matchup back in 2017. It was a 2-2 game tied up in the 9th. Jose Reyes hit a simple ground ball up the line, and pitcher Trevor Rosenthal forgot to cover first base. That's his role on that play. And instead, Yoenis Cespedes came around to score the game-winning run on a play that probably should have just been a simple ground out to send the game to extra innings. That's a bad F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this education on what a F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. is and why it occurs. And if you have a bet placed on a player, the last thing you want to see him do is commit a F.A.R.T.S.L.A.M. And if you're going to place that bet, you should do it at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the sponsor for today's episode. Guys, baseball action is back in full swing, And all the great betting is happening at DraftKings right now. Right now, new customers can place a $5 pregame moneyline wager and can receive $150 in bonus bets if that bet hits. Spread out that bonus bet money on some same-game parlays. I actually had some nice parlays over the weekend with my Mets beating the Marlins at home. Got some extra bucks there thanks to my bonus bet money. So there's your living example of that happening in real time. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code STATS, STATS. Bet $5 on a pregame moneyline wager and get $150 in bonus bets right now if that bet cashes. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details, and any resources you might need for a gambling addiction or gambling problem are listed down below as always. Guys, thank you for watching this episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter, episode 106. We'll see you guys next week, and hopefully in that time you don't commit a fart slam of your own, because it can happen to anyone.